Right, let me show you something. So I'm logged into a site here called Primal. It looks like a social media site, right? We can reply to messages, we can like them, we can retweet them. Let me just go to my friends page here. My friend Kevin. You can also do this. See his lightning bolt. Boom, boom. What I'm doing there, I'm literally sending Kevin Bitcoin. So you can like a message or you can send Bitcoin to the person who wrote it or whatever. Pretty cool. Pretty cool thing to be able to do on a social media site. I like Primal. It's built on top of a protocol called Nostr, and this is my account. Looks like any other social media account, except here's the thing. Let me go to a different site. This site here is called Astral. Notice it's the exact same. My account on Primal is the same as my account on Astral. It's the same as my account on Coracle, with slight differences in what the skin looks like, but it's the same underlying data. Same again on a site called Iris. What's going on here? Well, these are all of these sites are built on top of a protocol called Nostr. And all of the data underneath Nostr that is built on top of, all of that data is open to the public. So we've got a social media, ecosystem here where you can literally see every single message that anyone's ever written, or you can see any friends that anyone has, any connections anyone's made to anyone else, and all of that. That's all there out, and it's public. It's public information. DMs are encrypted and all of that, but we can go into that in a little bit different. But the data itself is public, and that's a complete treasure trove to a data scientist. Except there's one problem. If you want to access that data, you need to install a bunch of dependencies on your machine, so it can decrypt the data that's up there and speak to the relays. And that's a bit of a pain in the hole. There's a bit of a lift involved if you want to get that done. And if you're trying to work with an IDE that's in the browser, it's prohibitively difficult because there's too many dependencies and you just don't have the ability to configure your machine to be able to work with Nostr data. That is until now. So Kevin, who I've just sent a few zaps to earlier on, Kevin and I have open sourced a Nostr serverless API. I'm not going to go into how it's structured, how it works. If you want to look at that, I'll send a link in let's say the comment with this video, and it's on my GitHub, Gary O'Keefe /NSA. Check it out. If you want to work on it with us, please, by all means. But in any case, I'm logged into Replit right now, and I'm going to hit Nostr. I'm going to get back 10 notes, let's say 10 tweets from Nostr. This is my public key. And you'll see, these are all of the messages I've written. You'll notice that these kind of coincide with what was going on there. So now anyone can, fetch and query Nostr data purely with Replit. And that's going to be handy for data scientists. Myself and Kevin are building a bunch of other, let's say, add-ons to this base API. So you'll be able to do other stuff. We're building an OR wrapper, so you'll be able to work in OR, and we're going to do a bunch of tutorials. But again, the only dependency we have here now is requests, because we're just hitting an API and that's it. Super, super lightweight, super easy to work with. If you can, use Replit to get data, you can do some cool stuff. There's a bunch of cool templates on Replit that will speed things up. And I'm going to use a template that I saw earlier on, which was a chromaDB template. So with this, I'm going to get a bunch of data from Nostr, and I'm going to upload it into a chromaDB. chromaDB is a vector database. So I'm going to transform the text in these Nostr messages into semantic space, and then I'm going to start querying them. What am I doing? I'm hitting this particular relay on Nostr. If you know about Nostr relays and stuff, this might be interesting to you. I'm getting 15,000 notes from it. I like this relay because it gets rid of some spam. So there's a little bit more meaning in the notes that we're getting. And that's about it. Then we're fetching the notes from the API, and we're putting them into chromaDB, and then we're querying them. So I'm going to click run here. This will take like 20 seconds or so, because first I need to get all of those notes, and then I need to put them into the chromaDB, and it's working there in the background. But again, this is a browser-based IDE. There's not a whole lot of compute being thrown at this. Super, super lightweight. chromaDB is an open source database as well. So this should be nearly done now. In the meantime, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to show you how this API works. So a user will query an Amazon API gateway, which will in turn send a request into an AWS Lambda function, which will spin up a Dockerized Flask application, which is running in an ECR. And that Flask application will speak to the Nostr relays and get the information back and send that information back to the user. It's super, super complicated on the back end, but what we've done is we've used a CloudFormation template to orchestrate the whole thing. So like if you wanted to deploy it yourself, like you need to put enter about 5 different commands. There's not a lot of work that needs to get done. Play around with it. Anyways, this should be done at this point. Okay. So what have we got? We've got all of our Nostr notes inside in a chromaDB. And now I'm going to query it. So I'm going to type a message and I'm going to press enter. Once I press that message and hit enter, it's going to send that piece of text into the database and say, hey, what other pieces of text are kind of similar to this piece of text that I've seen? So maybe I might send a text like, I love country music. And we fetched back 5 results. And I love new places. Okay, it's kind of similar. Soulful Saturday, funk music. Again, we're picking up on the music. I love it. So it's picking up on the fact that I've said love in that sentence. Again, it looks like music, and then somebody like called Bobby is also being loved. But it's returning results that are kind of similar to what I've queried. And you can enter anything here. And I've really done a bare bones piece of work here. I haven't done any text cleaning. I haven't used any sophisticated embedding system. Like I haven't used OpenAI stuff or anything like that. But you could query anything if you wanted to. And myself and Kevin, we're going to be putting out a bunch of tutorials that will show you how you can do data science with Nostr data. This is what I've demonstrated here is the fetch notes endpoint. We've got a bunch of other different endpoints in this API as well. Whoops, this is out of sync, I think. We've got one to verify that the API is up and running. We've got one to send notes. We've got one to send DMs, and then what you've just seen there is the fetch notes endpoint. We're building out new endpoints. Like you can find out who's connected to who's followed who, and when did they unfollow, and all of that stuff. All that juicy information is there, and there's a bunch of other cool data that you can extract from Nostr and do some cool data science on top of it. And again, the data science that we're going to be showing you is the foundations of what's gone into like the whole AI stuff. All the AI projects that you're kind of hearing about, the ChatGPTs and the likes. This code base is now open source. We've open sourced it. We would love your help if you want to work with us on it. If you just want to play around with it and see is it easy to use, or where could the documentation be improved? If there's endpoints that you think we could hit that we're not currently hitting, or if you think that we could improve the overall architecture of the system and stuff like that. We want to hear your feedback, so please reach out to me or Kevin. And other than that, stay humble and stack sats.